We're going to go ahead and get started with our post-race media availabilities. We're now joined by members of our race-winning team. We've got Crew Chief Jonathan Hassler and Team Penske's President of NASCAR Operations, Michael Nelson. We'll go right ahead and open it up for questions. If you have one, please raise your hand and we will get a mic over to you. We'll start down here with John, then go to Jacob, then Matt, then Jenna.
Johnny with Savage Ventures. So this question's for both of you. You know, yesterday Ryan said that he hasn't finished a lot of races here. He's taken a lot of hard hits. Not only did he finish, but he, came from like 13th back in 2 laps. A, how satisfying is that? And B, how exactly did he pull that off?
It's incredibly satisfying. I mean, honestly, like he said, I'd have been happy to finish with the, Speedway like we've had. But to do it the way we did was, pretty incredible, not from the front. I give him a lot of credit just in choosing the right lanes at the right time and making the right moves.
Yeah, it was, man, he came out of nowhere there those last few laps, right? So he's been close. We were trying to remember on the way over here how many times he's been leading here and gotten in a wreck. So I'm sure it's satisfying for him as well to finally get it, to finish it off here tonight.
We'll go to Jacob, then Matt.
Jacob Zillman, Raceface Digital. Hassler, as a crew chief, once you have that late caution, it is what it is at that point, and you're as far back at that point as Blaney was. I mean, is that a helpless feeling, knowing that you at least up until this point, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot that you could do to work your way forward, and then all of a sudden here he comes?
Yeah, I think it wasn't an entirely helpless, situation. I think we were still a little bit outside of the fuel window, so we were able to kind of get that side of the game, to our favor, and we were able to push harder earlier than some other competitors were. But that certainly didn't net us a whole lot of position. It was, kind of gridlocked at points there, and at that point we were just, waiting for either a wreck, which is, pretty happens pretty frequently here, especially in this race with it being the cutoff race, and that didn't happen either, and so Ryan just continued to try different lanes and finally found one that worked for him pretty well.
And for either of you, it was a very long, dry spell of a summer, not just for Penske as a whole, but for Ford in general. How big a shot in the arm is it going into the playoffs to get one back on the board and kind of get this started off on the right foot?
Yeah, I mean, we needed a win, I don't think it really speaks to our performance, though. I mean, we've been there quite a few times here and been really close and had something happen. And, Ryan's had a great year all year long. I mean, you think about some of the accidents and things like that, but I mean, he's had speed and been competitive and been in contention quite a few times all year long. And so, no, it is great to finish it off. I think that's the best way to put it.
We'll go to Matt and then to Jenna.
Matt Weaver, motorsport.com, for both of you guys. It's a different era, and it's hard to take anyone seriously when you make a comparison to Earnhardt, but that was a very Earnhardt 2000 Talladega kind of drive at the end, and I'm curious, you guys have seen a lot of super speedway style racers in the Penske program excel over the years, but how good, in both of y'all's opinion, is Ryan Blaney at doing this?
Well, I mean, I think Ryan Blaney's pretty special. I mean, think about how many races this year we've had where he's really coming through, challenging for the win at the end. You think about last week, think about Darlington earlier in the year, where in so many races where, when the end of the race comes around, there he is. You see the 12 car. So he's pretty special. And again, we just needed a little bit of things to go our way tonight to get it across the finish line. But no, he's there every week.
Yeah, I second what Michael said. I think, pertaining to the speedways in general, I think he's really good. I think he does a great job, knowing when to push, knowing when to, back up, and just, I've heard Hamlin say before, just, live another lap. Yeah, he does a good job of just getting through the race and knowing when to push and when to, choose the lanes at the right time.
We'll go to Jenna and then to Scotty and then to Dustin.
Hi, Jenna Fryer, Associated Press. I guess for both of you, Jacob sort of asked it. You guys have come off Team Penske in 4 11 straight races without winning before tonight. Seems to be a little bit of a trend in this, the 3 straight championships that Team Penske comes out of the summer and really turns it up a notch at this time and heads into the playoffs and then gets it done. What's the sort of magic there in getting ready at the right time of the year?
Yeah, Jenna, for me, I think it's a lot of happenstance. I think all Team Penske, our focus from the start of the year to the end of the year is to continue to try to, improve. And I think, a lot of that, resurgence in the summer is just, we've tried some things maybe early on in the year and figured out some things that didn't work. And we kind of iterate on that, and then, things start to fall together.
Go to Scotty, and then to Dustin, and then to Wyatt.
Sky Sprinkle Race Face Digital, for Jonathan. It seemed like handling mattered a whole lot tonight, more than it has in the next gen at a Super Speedway race. Blaney was outside the top 10 with 2 to go, was able to get up to the front. I'm curious, did you kind of envision handling being a big factor throughout the night? And then, was there, any concerns about, how bad it would go away and things like that, like throughout the race? What was it like to try to keep up to make sure the car handled good?
Yeah, I think, as these speedway races have evolved, the importance of handling has, dwindled a little bit. You're riding around saving fuel for 75% of the stage. You're certainly not handling limited, but, it gives you a lot less laps for the guys that, have a good handle and a good balance to, to shine. And certainly that worked in our favor tonight.
Go to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Jonathan, just to look ahead to the playoffs, the start of the first round, obviously Gateway's been a very good track for your organization. But when you look at what happened at Darlington this year and Bristol this year, I know you finished 5th in both races, but the Hendrick cars led the dominant number of laps. Larson led 411 and Byron 243. What are the challenges in going up against the Hendrick cars, in particular at Darlington and Bristol, for you guys?
Yeah, I don't think, we look at it as if we're going up against the Hendrick cars, honestly. I mean, our focus is to beat all the rest, the whole field. And it really doesn't matter.
I guess I would say just because they've been so strong. I mean, obviously you got to go up against everybody, but because they've been strong, you've got to beat them along with everybody else, I guess is how I reference it.
Yeah, and we're just going to, like I said before, our focus is to just make sure that we're improving week in and week out. And regardless of who was good at the track the last time, that really doesn't change how we focus on the race. Maybe we'll study some things about those cars. That's something that we're always doing is, studying the whole field, but certainly doesn't change our focus a whole lot.
And Michael, obviously it's not been the easiest of summers maybe for the 22 in terms of results, and certainly they've had some races where they've had some good runs and things haven't worked out. I know they got the 4th place finish at Richmond, we're running well here, but before that hadn't had anything better than 9th for a long time. What do you feel like where that team is, or is this just like last year where they're just going to, people are going to overlook them and here they are in the playoffs because that's a playoff team?
Yeah, I mean, I think, overlooking Joey Logano is a pretty big mistake. And, he's obviously really good. And, you saw that again tonight and had put himself in position and basically ran up front all night. And so, that team is experienced. They're capable. They've been through this before, and I think that really is a feather in their cap going into the playoffs is they've been there and done it before, and so they have confidence that they can get it done.
We'll go to Wyatt, and then down here to Nate.
Wyatt Thompson with UNF Spinnaker Radio. Jonathan, congratulations on the win. When you made the call to call down Ryan Blaney onto pit road with 1 lap to go on the second to last restart, what was kind of going through your mind during those last 50 or so laps?
Oh yeah, leading up to that decision, we had kind of lost our track position, and you really just try to cash in on whatever advantages you can make of your situation, and certainly that led to we stopped and put an extra set of tires on because there'd been some debris on the track, some blown tires, possibly a brake rotor on the track. Came in, like you said, and got the extra fuel and tried to take advantage of that. And then, from there, it's just, Ryan tried to make a little bit of progress once we, everybody still had to save a little bit of fuel in that run. Ryan tried to make a little progress, but, we were kind of gridlocked a little bit, and just hoping that, kind of expecting a late race caution here. And, when it didn't start to play out, Ryan, continued to push forward. And like I said before, picked the right lanes at the right time.
We'll go to Nate.
Have you guys addressed two things? One, Ryan was in here yesterday after winning the poll and was saying that he was really happy where Team Penske is right now. He feels like a lot of things were cleaned up. He said that again after the race. What do you guys feel like you've improved in that regard?
I think we've made improvements in all facets of our program. I mean, you look at pit road. We've continued to get better on pit road. I think we have probably some of the most fastest and most consistent pit crews on pit road. Our cars continue to get more speed. I think our road course program was something that in years past we've struggled with at times. And you look at Watkins Glen and getting a pole and fighting for stage win and race win. We continue to try to improve in each and every area, and I think we're doing a good job with that. And then that charge from 13th to first in the last two laps. I mean, that's essentially 9 playoff points because he gets the win, and you guys also jump up to second. And how impactful might that be? 9 weeks from now or whatever.
Is that where we ended up, second? Okay. Yeah, we're trying to figure that out. Yeah, that's Ryan Blaney. Anytime, these last few weeks, you look at the end of the race, he's there. So, obviously we had to have some circumstances fall our way and some things, some seas to be parted. But, he had a strong car all night. Just, again, ended up being back in the pack at one point in time. But, had a fast car. Obviously, he was up front earlier in the night and, just had to get in the right lane, I guess.
Are there any further questions for Jonathan or Michael? All right, we'll take one final question from Jenna in the back.
Jonathan, what are the biggest challenges of the 10 races coming up?
Yeah, it's hard to. No, it's vague for sure. I think our focus for sure is to control what we can control. Put our best foot forward and try to get results on the table. Certainly don't feel like we have to come out and light the world on fire the way we obviously got some playoff points in the bank. So we got to kind of balance, it's definitely a time of the year where you got to balance trying to be better with, just getting base hits and continue to move on. So I'd say, that balance is probably one of the most important things.
All right, guys, congratulations and thanks for your time today.